Welcome to Bet Doctor. A behind the curtain look at how pro punters bet. A big thanks to puntingform.com.au and our major sponsor, topsport.com.au. It's a big season 2 and this is episode 1. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by the punter's punter, DK, and the brand new star of the show, Darcy Spinks. Firstly, ladies first.
Yeah,
Darcy,
absolutely.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Bet Doctor.
Yeah, super exciting. Super excited to be here.
I'm a little bit surprised that you've joined us because we took you to the races a couple of weeks ago. It was Group 1 CF4 day. And you've made it back. You've seen DK in full flight.
She had a day on the drink with DK, and she came back.
Yeah,
so,
look, it was fun. I had to come back for more.
You had to come back. Oh, there you go. So, there's plenty more of that.
It was a great day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it was good. We had a beautiful day, didn't we? We had the table overlooking the winning post, Scoot. And
yeah, it was the Promenade Melbourne Racing Club, so it was beautiful. We had a 3-course feed there. It's stunning. I think it's the best way to do racing at the moment in this sort of COVID era. Book a table up at Caulfield, especially if you're a member. It's a great excuse to buy a membership. I think one of the Caulfield memberships is probably the best value membership of all the racing clubs at the moment. I think it's about $200 or $300, and then I think it was about $200 a head, and I think we were full of drink and full of food, and we just had a great day. We couldn't really back a winner.
Back a winner. I got a $1.80 chance beat at Emerald. That's how good my day was. I mean, there you go, DK the cooler again. But anyway, it was a good fun day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was outstanding. And we learned a little bit about Darcy. So I did the booking and we didn't really communicate properly. And I've learned that Darcy's a bit of a vegetarian. And then,
yes,
we did learn that. We had a few bit of conversation over lunch, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. And then it sort of, it led into another conversation about DK and this documentary that he's been tuning into. And he's watching all these athletes. Now, DK over the summer, he's lost a fair few kilos. He's lost about 10 kilos. He's been in hard work, and I think he's starting to chime into this vegetarian diet. And then Darcy was sort of egging him on. And what's happened the other day, DK? You've speared in to some vegetarian sausages.
Yeah, so it came from watching the Game Changer documentary on Netflix, which was the MMA athlete who got on, changed his diet, and became super strong and all this, and a lot of other athletes on there and whatnot. So.
Being the athlete you are.
With the athlete I am now, feeling, But anyway, I got to the supermarket. It was I thought I'll cook up barbecue or something for lunch, and saw the plant-based meat sausages there at Coles. So I thought, I'll give him a run. Why not? Give him a run.
I don't know that I could.
Anyway, so I gave him a run, smothered him in tomato sauce and hot mustard helped. And
the only way to do it.
They weren't too bad. They weren't too bad. But on that documentary, the most interesting part to me was they had a urologist on there with 3 Miami Dolphin players.
Okay.
And his job was to measure the power of their Rogers.
Erection.
I've already said this word. We can say erection.
We can say boner, we can say erection. We're not on commercial radio anymore.
So he had sensors.
We're free to say whatever we like.
And they had meat for dinner one night, and he measured them during how they slept and everything. And then they had plant-based dinner the next night and measured them again. And results were basically Rogers were 300% stronger during the night of the plant-based thing. So
there you go.
2 Emmys. I'll get to try the vegan sausages, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Try your luck.
So I have the vegan sausages. Whack away at Bendigo, find a winner in the Bendigo 1,300 metre maiden. So it's all happy days.
Easy.
All right. So I bust open the bubbles. Dear, would you like a glass of bubbles? 6 o'clock, get the bubbles going. Bust into a bottle of red. Beautiful, everything's going all right.
Traveling. Great start.
Get some takeaway pizzas, but we got some takeaway pizzas, and one of the pizzas maybe might have been a bit iffy anyway. So I'm sitting there at sort of 10 o'clock or something, and I'm looking at my phone and just watching TV, and the room starts to spin a bit, and I'm looking at the phone, starts to spin. I said, what's going on here?
Oh, something in the snags.
Well, don't think it was the snags. So I said, and then I said to Mrs. I don't feel that well, I'm going to bed. So I go upstairs. And
that's a bit of a buzz killer.
Buzz killer, right?
Oh.
Now the room's starting to spin, so I think I'm going to throw up here. So I go and park myself on the Brasco.
The toilet?
The toilet, and pass out.
Oh.
Wow.
Because I didn't know. She said I was up there she thought I was in bed.
There's a bit of weed in the sausages, was it? Where'd you get them from?
It was
Inman.
That sounds like, so anyway. So I come to, and now the head's like it's been in the fast spin in a washing machine. So I try and get up, and I have no bearings at all.
You were stoned, I'm sure.
And I've just smashed, so I couldn't get up, but no balance. I was just smashed head first into the toilet. Tried to pick myself up there, just smashed back the other way, smashed my head into the toilet door. I just sent you the photos.
Yeah, we'll get the photos of the wall,
Then I'm
the
in
plaster wall.
I'm in the fetal position on the floor. The missus comes up, what the hell's going on up here? So I did set my neck. I had the concussion, so my neck and everything was sore. I hurt my ankle.
You busted the toilet seat.
Smashed the toilet seat to smithereens. Put a hole in the door. You see the hole. So that's how my night. I thought I might have a great night of romance and testing the vegan power of the vegan
And you've
sausages.
busted the Brasco.
And I've been hobbling around and sore neck, sore head for 3 days. Typical Johnny
DK.
McLeod said, the patient died again. Well, unbelievable. So there you go,
So
guys.
what are we blaming that on? The drink or the
I
sausages?
think it was there's a bit of bodgy prawn or something on one of the pizzas I'm
the
tipping or something like that.
pizzas.
Yeah.
You've
So
just,
once it
just
come
spun
out,
out.
yeah, spun out. So
Oh, right.
there we go.
Unbelievable.
There
Well,
we go.
it sounds
DK. No.
eventful to say the least.
So gonna have to wait another time to test the.
So what happened? Did you wake up in the middle of the night with a boner, or
Mate, I was.
you're too
Please,
out
I
of
was
it?
concussed. I've had a sore neck, sore everything. Like, oh mate, please. So I'll have to wait another time to test the vegan sausages again.
Have to go around again.
Yeah.
We might have to get a couple of vegetarian
Unbelievable.
recipes from
Stay
you,
tuned.
Das. But
Yeah, I've got a few.
we've had a bit of fan mail, and a lot of people have asking how's DK recovered from the Little Birdie Million stream up at the Gold Coast.
Yes. So
Have you recovered? You had a couple of sick beats up there, and again on CF4 day when we were sort of on the drink. But how's the punt been for you? And how's your mental state?
mental state's good. we had a freshen up, which has been good. We had a good freshen up. Dropped a few kilos, good freshen up, so I feel good. I mean, I'll tell you what got me through that. Like, you got to put the bit between the mouth and go and have 40,000 on the last favourite. You got to sort of, you got to have you got to steel yourself to do something like that, which I did. I knew I hadn't sort of, but you just got to get on with it. And for people who don't know, like,
It was Pinion. Yeah, I think you had what 30 or 40,000 on Pinion in the last on Gold Coast. Turbion. Sorry, Turbion.
Terbium. So yeah, because I didn't like Mystery Shot. And this was expressing the market. Yeah, the winner was who says not a bad horse, but he was 7th run for the prep or something. But anyway, but what people, if you didn't see, didn't know is that I did have a bet in race 8 at Flemington as well, and wasn't happy because there were 4 chances. I backed 3 of them. The 4th pick won, of course. So I marched out onto the balcony and kicking the cat sort of thing, and then Johnny Walter, too clever Johnny Walter's come back and said, well, DK's going to have a big bet in the last at Flemington. If he gets beat, he's going to go out there and put on a show. So he went and hid two of his phones in the pot plants to record me.
And just got you a beauty.
Got me absolute beauty. And I had no idea. So, but no, recovered from that. And physically we recovered. I mean, we were supposed to go handlebars down Saturday night, remember? We said after the stream, we'll get out, we'll get the casino on that. And we had a gut full of Thai food, a few beers, and I was passed out on the couch at 11 o'clock. I was cast. It's a long day.
Tail in between the legs. But it's inspired. The rant was so famous, and we've got these shirts. We might bring it out in segment 2.
Segment 2, right.
Segment 2, and we might, we've got the Noonan boys on, and we might present them a Hello Darkness, my old friend T-shirt and give them a T-shirt for coming in. But
turned it into the real punning attire, I think,
DK's merch line. And
people back more winners than losers, that's what happens. So, the DK merch line,
I think it's going to go red hot. And something that also will go red hot is your new set. So you're going to launch a service from the 1st of March. It's going to be all your provincial stuff. So none of this Metro garbage.
No Metro.
It'll be all the stuff.
My mantra is always, backing a winner at $3 at Caulfield is the same at $3 at Colac.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I love betting at what I'm selective, so it won't be a million bets. It'll be when I like one and it ticks my boxes, I'll send it through. I'm thinking it'll average sort of 5 to 7 bets. Maybe 30 bets a month, something like that.
Yep.
Average bets. It won't be overdone. It'll be selective, and that's the way I bet. I'm not a high turnover, low margin punter. That's just not me. So, but I just want
pick the eyes out.
Yeah, and then the Little Birdie crew, they were fantastic. That Gold Coast live stream, all the people coming on at after 5 o'clock, and being the banter was fantastic. And you just want to. All you want to do is find people winners. So I'm happy to have a crack at it, Scoot, and I think we can go all right, playing out wide. So
we might have to try and smuggle you into the Little Birdie Diamonds house and entertain us with some of your banner. Now, we'll kick on. If you want to get DK set or the T-shirt, you can look at the Little Birdie shop. But on today's show, we've got Richard Irvine. He's going to discuss his side project, minimum bet laws, the 10% Racing Victoria POC tax. It's gone from 8 to 10%. We're going to talk about some new startups. There's been a little bit of drama lately with a couple of new bookies, and everyone's got different rules, and we just need some standardisation with how everyone sets these fixed odds markets, and it just needs a little bit more policing. We'll talk to Richard about that. We'll talk to Tristan Merlahan about that also. We've got In the Know with Snow. We've got his Caulfield Hut mail. He can't be in the show today, but Darcy will relay his bets, and he's got some absolute crackers there. And then we'll go through the top sport, big bets, and early market movers. But it's going to be a big, big day on Saturday. We've got the live stream. We've got the Little Birdie Blue Diamond Day. We've got 52,500 in the betting bank already. We think the bank will go over 100, maybe 150,000. There's going to be a lot of people involved, and it's just going to be great. Like you saw, I think the score's 2-2 at the moment with Top Sport. We've won 2, they've won 2. We could have fell in last time, I guess, if we wanted to win, but we wanted to go hard, and I guess that's what the Noonan boys are going to do. That we'll speak to them in a minute, but they want to bet the lot. They want to either return $500,000 or $1 million or zero. So for your $50 unit, maximum buy-in of $500, the Noonan boys are going to swing as hard as they can.
And they've got a team with them. They've got a team, haven't they? So
they're funny young blokes, but they're very serious about their form. They use the yard, they use punting form, they love their tapes, they do their trials, their jump outs. And they've got sort of five blokes with eyes on the horses. So they cover Brisbane and Melbourne in great depth. I think they've got a couple of guys out wide in Sydney as well. So it's going to be 6 hours of absolute fun on the live stream.
Fresh faces, fresh voices, fresh opinions. Like that's what we're bringing. You know, you're trying to bring different punters, how everyone does it. I mean, the feedback from watching John McLeod on the Gold Coast, cool, calm, collected. McLeod, methodical. You know, didn't back that short favourite because it was under the odds and all that. You know, and then Walt and then all the people and the Dogs boys and that's what we're trying to bring, different perspectives. You know, different punters. You know, the education is very important to what we're doing as well.
Exactly, and we're going to give Darcy a little bit of a taste of the live stream. Well, this Saturday with COVID, we couldn't quite get the live audience and we couldn't get on track for the Blue Diamond. The guys at Melbourne Racing Club were trying hard to fit us in, but it's really hard at the moment with all the restrictions with COVID. But we've locked in Group 1 William Reid night at Moonee Valley. So we're going to have 200 people in our live audience. And Darcy, you're going to come out to Moonee Valley and host it with me.
Yes, I am. I look forward to it.
Good.
Seeing it all in action.
It's going to be great. So I think it's going to be about 6 o'clock at night till 10:30, and it's food and drink, and you can buy tables of 10 or a couple of mates and bring them along. It's going to be great. We'll have DK maybe on a roving mic. You can ask questions. You can learn about betting if you're new to betting, or you just want to bring a friend along. It'll be a great night out. It's food, drink, and just a barrel of laughs, and hopefully we can get Top Sport for a few 100,000. I think it's just going to be fantastic. And the live audience, it's a new domain for us. I think it was difficult to go up and do one at the Gold Coast, but we've ticked that box, and I think it's going to be a heap of fun once we start to do these live
Friday
audience.
night, perfect.
It's a perfect atmosphere as well.
Place, So hopefully
absolutely.
everything's smooth. In the lockdown state.
I think we'll be fine by then. I think the common sense approach will happen. Now, up next, we've got Trav Noonan and Nick Noonan from the racing show, and they're going to chat through the Little Birdie Diamonds, the Blue Diamond Stakes Day stream this Saturday, the 20th of February. But we might just throw to an ad break now. Das, topsport.com.au.
Topsport.com.au, the biggest betting online bookie, taking on everyone and betting the biggest limits. If gambling is a problem for you, call the Gamblers Help on 1800 858 858.
We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Bet Doctor. A behind the curtain look at how pro punters bet. I'm your host Scoot, joined by DK, and we've got some special guests in here on the eve of the Little Birdie Diamonds Blue Diamond Stakes Day live stream. We've got Nick and Trav Noonan from the racing show. Welcome, guys.
G'day, boys.
Yep.
Here you go, guys. Pleasure to be on Bet Doctor.
Yeah, I've got the new studio and just a new look team, so we're pretty excited. But you guys you're in the driver's seat.
Starting to get the butterflies.
You've got a 6 hour stream, and you got all the pressure. You got thousands of people have put their hard-earned in. We've got an early bank of around 53,000 while we're recording the show. Are you guys a bit nervous?
I was saying to Trav when we walked in, it's starting to become a bit real, isn't it? Yesterday it was just all about doing the form. It was a bit usual process. Now we're in here recording this. It is starting to feel a bit real, but very excited, very excited.
Yeah, I don't think the nerves have got to me yet. We've just been doing form, crunching the numbers, having a look at the figures on punting form, of course, going back through the replays. It's all been standard process so far, and just you've got a bit bigger bank.
That's the go.
So I don't think it'll get to us too much, Scoot. I'm hoping.
On the morning, or when you get there and kick off on the live stream, you'll probably. But
That's when it would kick in, I reckon.
Yeah, because that's different. You know, what you're doing now is just your normal process, which is good. But then you're normally sitting at home in the bunkers, sort of betting away. But then all of a sudden you're on air.
And a lot of excitement will come into it as well. We're very keen to get the bank, see how much we got, and see what bullets we can fire, and have a real crack at getting the cash off top sort, I imagine.
And let's just go, we'll rewind it a little bit, and what your backstory. You guys are born into racing. Your old man's a trainer?
Yep. So our man David Noonan, he's a racehorse trainer down there on the Mornington Peninsula. Does a lot
God's country.
Yeah, he does live in God's country. It's a good little spot of the earth. He lives down there in Balnarring, and he does a lot of pre-training for some of the bigger stables in Melbourne, like the likes of Anthony and Sam Freeman, Kieran Martin, David Eustace. Sort of knows what he's doing. He's a good horseman, so we learned a bit from him early days, and then it was about learning the form pretty much when we got to our teenage years. I've always wanted to be a race caller. So I sort of started that at 14. Still do that occasionally now.
Doing the trials.
Fair few of the horses you'll see on the weekend, I called them at the trials, like the Anders, so Dragonet the other day. So that's good. Trying to sort of break through there, but we've both been keen on the form ever since I can remember, I reckon, Nico. Always love racing.
I remember finding books of Travis that are just filled with fields that he's written out, the weights, the prices. He had no idea how to frame a market, looking back on them, but just him writing them out, not even getting them off riser, writing down what horses are running where. So, yeah, the sickness was well and truly bred into us from a young age.
I can remember that. I used to cut out the Herald Sun photo finishes and put them in a little scrapbook. And
that was the go back then.
I was that sick. I think my first love was Let's Elope, my first crush. Don't worry about any of the girls at school. I was so keen on that. But Nico, you're a yard man, so you've got your eyes and your camera on the yard. So that final bit of conditioning and fitness, you factor into your form.
Well, I learned a lot from my old man just going out to track work at 7 a.m. every Saturday morning and things like that, and just looking our horses walk and all those kind of things. So I've tried to sort of take that into race day, and then yard stuff's really building profile on horses. I think that's the main thing, and I've been pretty lucky throughout COVID that I've kept working, and my job is as a cameraman at the races, so I've still been able to look at a lot of these horses throughout the past few months in the yard. Was there all spring carnival, so I feel like I've probably got a better handle than most on a lot of these horses, especially these young horses. So very much looking forward to continuing that, and then Saturday obviously might be doing a bit of that off the TV because we can't be on track, but we'll be doing our best.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the drama that's unfolding in the Blue Diamond in a second, but tell us more about the racing show, this podcast that you guys do. You guys smash out a stack of content. You focus on Melbourne, Brisbane, and a bit of Sydney as well. Run us through the team, I guess. We did a short little video that's up on our YouTube channel, Little Birdie Podcast, last Thursday night. It was a bit of light-hearted introduction to a few of the guys. These guys have got a fair bit of spunk. They have a bit of fun. You got three little fellas up in Brizzy, and they've formed a bit of a team, and they all go on track and they pick the form apart, and you guys are operating out of Melbourne.
Yeah, so it's sort of come along well for probably the last 12 months. Nick and I have been doing it on and off for 4 years, I think, just sort of as something to do. We both like talking about the form. We both like discussing it, and it's sort of just grown from there. So and we've been lucky to pick off some really smart guys. So we've got a couple of guys in Sydney who are, especially Matt Sheehan, who's a real gun. Mark's son, he's a top gun. Matty Richo. And then the three boys in Queensland, Ollie, Tom and Jacob. The three of them, they're not mucking around. They do bet. They do form really intently. I've worked with some pretty good form analysts through .com and RSN and stuff, and they'd be as good as most of those guys. So, it's good. I think we're growing a sort of a young talent profile at the racing show. That's what we're sort of all about. Everyone's sort of under 30. It's a little bit of a different vibe, and it's working out pretty well at the moment. The numbers we're getting is good, so it's grown a lot in the last 12 months. So hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny McLeod was pretty complimentary when I chatted to him after we did the Little Birdie Million stream, and he gave the Queensland mafia of the racing show a really big rap and said how serious and how much they wanted to learn. And I even spotted a photo. I think it was Ollie in the same shirt that we recorded on Thursday. On Thursday's show, he's wearing the same shirt to the races on Saturday. So he's either had a 2 or 3 day bender, or we might have to send him one of the DK shirts. We'll give you guys the DK shirts, the Hello Darkness, my old friend.
How good are they?
Right,
Here they are.
They're outstanding. And
On
they
the
got the Little
balcony
Birdie
there.
logo on the background, but we'll give you guys one of those. But we might have to send Ollie one because
Punting
I
outside,
hope
mate. It's going to be the new number one punting outside.
yeah,
So
he
you can
needs
just
to
see it.
expand the wardrobe, or he needs to pull his head in because this weekend he's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Well, those boys, I reckon they can get up to a bit of mischief, those three on the track. So I imagine there's plenty of eyes on them on Saturday. And I reckon Ollie could make his own version of the Hello Darkness Wild Friend DK shirt. He seems to be a fair character who goes through his ups and downs on the track. Imagine after Isotope got beat in the Magic Millions, he could have replicated the shirt for
Put
sure.
on a floor show. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's going to be best on ground on Saturday? Who's going to win the most money, you think, for the boys?
Oh, I'd like to say myself, but that's
Yeah, I'm still sticking seat 1A in my own fan club at the moment. I'm not sort of saying anyone else is going to be MVP. We've got to have some self-confidence.
Ollie's a big yard man in Queensland, so hopefully we can find a few bets late there that just hopefully that no one else is really finding. So if we can do that, I think Ollie's a big chance to come home for us hard late in the day. Tommy's going to be doing a bit of Sydney for us, also Queensland, and Jacob's a pretty good judge himself. So early leaning, I'd probably have Ollie as favourite from myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll wait and see how it all unfolds, I guess.
I don't really care who's MVP, as long as it's a group sort of set up and we can all win the money and it's a team effort. That's all I care about, winning the cash for the punters.
And your strategy, you guys are basically all in. You guys want to swing as hard as possible. So if we start with, say, 150,000, you want to say a triple return, get the bank to $500,000, or if everything goes your way, you guys want to take home $1 million and really inflict some pain into topsport.com.au. You guys want to... It's all in, basically. Boom or bust.
Yeah, I think that's how you bet when you're young. So we've got to represent how you do it. So young and fearless. Let's hit top sport with a couple of bullets, and if we go down swinging, we go down swinging.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think if we're up, during the day and we're up a fair bit, sort of halfway through the meeting, then it is a bit of a reassessment. But I think at the early stages, the bank we're probably looking at getting, I think sort of ×3, looking to triple the money is probably our early sort of goal. And then if sort of throughout the card, if we're, have already achieved that, then we maybe can look
achieved that. I like the confidence.
We can maybe look at the millie.
Now, if you want to follow all the action on the stream, if you want to buy in, you go to Little Birdie Pod, and then you go to the Blue Diamonds tab, or if you want to watch the action on the stream, if you're brand new to the show, you can head to our YouTube channel, Little Birdie Podcast, and it'll be live streaming from about 6:15, possibly up to about 7 o'clock. I think the last at Eagle Farm up in Queensland is, I think it's 6:45, so we'll need to stay hydrated, and we'll be there a long time. It'll be a big innings, and we might have to smuggle DK into the house for a bit of banter and a couple of other surprise guests, or as you say, intruders. But let's start to have a look at some of the races. We might go to the speed map first for Caulfield Race 4, and I think you're going to take us through this one, Trav. You guys have started to pepper away. You've found a couple of horses that you think might shorten, but let's take a look at the mannerism in Race 4 at Caulfield. And I guess firstly, how do you think the track will play?
Yeah, well, I've got this sort of feeling that the track could definitely be, as typical Caulfield rail true, definitely advantage to be inside the first 4 or 5, especially around the circle. Class horses are still going to be able to run on, but I'd still be looking for those horses sort of closer to the inside, in that first 5. I thought this race, the mannerism, the Leader Sovereign Award, she was really off her game in the CF4. Just a hard horse to back without watching from the mounting yard. Like, she got really worked up that day, didn't she, Nico? And she can just be a horse that sometimes she's just not on her game. So she was not a horse I wanted to back early. The favourite, Perfect Jewels, $2, coming off just, I thought, an average trial at Belmont. She's a horse who ended her campaign with 2 sort of flat runs, which is what I never really like for a mare. I just wonder as well whether a good 3 surface, it's a good 4 at the moment, but I think it will be good 3 Caulfield with the weather we're going to get, whether a drying surface is going to be her preferred sort of conditions. And I thought she was just a favourite I was really keen to oppose. I just think couldn't mark her $2.
What do you landed on? You must have landed on
So
something.
went with Lunicorn, who's drawn gate 1, Jamie Carr, like the hottest rider in Melbourne, draws the absolute pole, looks to get run of the race. Like, yes, she's up in class, but the figure from her last start performance, like comparative to a lot of these mares, is really right in the ballpark. Like, it's really in the game. I thought, just looking at the stable and the jockey combination and where she draws, and that she's in form, sort of fit, I thought she was the horse that the market has to come for, and I was really happy playing her early at around that 750 mark. I think I'd be surprised if she started, at a 7 in front of her name. I think she's got to start closer to 5. Yeah. And I've talked to some big guys, and they're sort of thinking the same.
Yeah. popular
What would we have?
rider
You've had
stable.
bet, so 5,000 or something?
4,000 at
4,000?
750 on Lunicon. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? And that's, I guess, probably the hardest thing that you guys need, or the hardest thing about the betting is the betting bank and having that adjustable floating bank. And things change and it just evolves throughout the day. So even with the early betting, the bank's not set yet. So we're sort of guessing, or sort of trying to forecast how big this bank's going to get. So we'd love to sit here and say, oh, let's have 20,000 on this and it's going to be $7.50 into $5 and you're a genius and home you go. But yeah, it's I guess it's too irresponsible to have too big a bet early until you know the final bank. And then you need to just sort of adjust on the fly. And I think that's what punting is. It's about lots of adjusting, see what the track's like, see what the conditions are like, and you just keep updating your strategy. DK?
And with these boys particularly, Trav, the yard stuff.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you want to get the final tick from the yard. Tell her this is that she looks, when they know how the horses look, how she parades, and if they want to go again, and she's still 650 or something, away you go, you know.
Yeah, exactly right. And you've had 3 races by this sort of point of the day. You might be able to decipher a little pattern.
Yeah, that was the other thing with betting early. We didn't want to go like too hard early in case there is a pattern like last year and it's impossible to make ground and you've backed a few back markers already. So there is a bit of sort of wait and see, but come the day, we're definitely going to be launching some missiles, that's for sure.
I love it. I just love the early couple of bombs. It just gets top sport thinking about things and getting them on the back foot early. Now, the big race, the Blue Diamond, it's breaking on Twitter at the moment, the story.
Bombshell.
All of a sudden,
What do we make of this?
There's a lameness. Not just Enthar.
So the vet's been to Caulfield and trotted out all the horses, which is what they do before all the Group 1s.
Yep.
There's been issues with this before and has cited the favourite Enthar, Dosh and Marine One as all having some sort of lameness. So they'll be monitored and done again tomorrow. But that just puts a big cloud over the market. I mean, it's a short price favourite, having to take short odds now. You've got that question mark, but look, they're the best trainers, some of the best trainers in the country. As you said, what do? You back the train? But just
Yeah, exactly. They're, like you said, they're the best trainers in the country, and you got to back them in at the end of the day. But the market's definitely going to factor it in because a lot of the recreational money will sort of factor it in early. It's going to be interesting to see what Top Sport kind of do with a price like that. If they've still got money coming for it, if a few of the punters go, don't want to really back Enthar early, see her in the yard, see her late, see what the market's doing, they might look to pick one out of the eye, sort of around the edges a bit. So it is interesting. The speed map's probably the key thing for Enthar because looking at it, Abseiler is going to be the real horse that's going to determine where Enthar lobs in the run. If Abseiler beats her out of the gates and they want to cross Enthar, well, she's got a real task and try and kick up and lead it, and I think that could be a situation that could happen. I'm sort of envisioning Enthar might take a sit. I'm reckoning she might get like that extreme choice run when he had a Blue Diamond and won it that year, just sort of in behind the speed, still wide on the track. General Bo's going to kick up. Dosh is very fast early, so there's good speed drawn underneath her, which is the problem. And then she's got that real fly in the ointment in Abseiler out wider. So that's probably going to be the key for the race for her. And if she can sustain that fast pressure, she probably will be the horse to beat. But I think there's enough there to be taken on at $2.30, and especially with the lameness now.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're sort of thinking she's vulnerable. You know, all her form as well is at 1,000 metres. We know 1,000 metres to 1,200.
1,000 metre island, exactly.
So
DK Pearl.
It is. Don't get me started.
They're different ball games. So, you know, she's got to prove herself. And she's also been in relatively slow or average run races that first sort of 400 metres. And so they've been dashes home. Whereas this is going to be, you know, hell for leather from the get-go, the first 600. They'll be going, you know, punting form sort of all average benchmark, 8 to 10 lengths above. Like, they'll be flying.
And it'll be the hunted too.
Yeah,
You know, the
exactly.
short price favourite.
She's got the target on her back now, doesn't she?
I think she's a like, I know there's plenty of thought that she's just the best horse and she'll win, but for mine, I think she's vulnerable, and we've sort of been snipping away the edges a little bit, and you're keen on this horse, Nick. I'll let you explain why we've backed him.
Yeah, we've backed Animo, whatever you want to call him. He is a horse, seeing him in the yard, all three of his runs, he paraded like exactly the same last Saturday as he did in the debutantes. Real colty, just had no idea what it was about. And he come back, and I thought this preparation he might sort of work it all out, but came back, he was colty as. I didn't think he could win off the way he paraded. And then to see what he did in the prelude, and then to see the improvement he made out of the debutantes takes, then to win the Merson Cooper, I'm expecting he's going to do the same thing Saturday. And if he does, he's got at least 3 lengths improvement, I would imagine, if not 5. Like, this horse has that much improvement left in him from the yard. And then you just go back and watch his replays. In every single start he's had, he's just chased the line. It's just a thing in a young horse you want to find, isn't it, DK? A horse who just gets back and savages the line every start. He's strong through the line every start. And he looks the horse at fast pressure, 1,200 metres. He looks the horse will be most
So it's
suited.
more like a 13, as we said, to make more the favourite more vulnerable. This race is more like a 13. You want to be able to run 1,300.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and has it got the shades on?
And he gets the blinkers on.
For the grand final.
And Ollie sticks.
Ollie
Big thing.
sticks. So he's just got ticks everywhere. It's just going to be a matter of on the day if you can make ground.
Yep.
And even if so, it could be a race where they overdo it out in front and you can anyway. And that's the other thing, the map. He's going to go back from barrier number 15. But I actually really love the draw. We were watching the barrier draw and I did a little fist pump when barrier 15 came out because I knew he was going to get in no bad luck. He's just going to be out there. Exactly. He's just going to be out there by himself. He's drawn inside barriers his whole career. Now he's going to get to the outside horses and have an opportunity to build. You saw what he did in that Merson Cooper when he came off the back of the sort of leaders and then gets to the outside. It was as big a last 200 as you'll see from a 2-year-old. So,
yeah,
gee, I'm getting very confident.
Great run for
You're getting very excited
Oh,
about
he's
that.
getting
I
horned
can
up.
hear it in the voice.
Exactly.
Horned up deluxe, as we say.
Horned up the Lux. Yeah. And
There we go. So we've had something. What have we had?
6,000 at $9. And
to win
I guess all of a sudden the talk about Enthar, the possible lameness, you guys could be in the box seat with that price, $9. I think it's 9 into 850, but this thing could go. If they're running on, this thing could be.
The map will still make its price hold up. I would have thought to some degree, which is good. We want to go again, and we're strong. But yeah,
and that's the thing. We've got to see him in the yard as well. If he's made the improvement, I think he will.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if we're going again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be imagining the way you're talking. If he parades as well as what you think he's going to do, we're definitely going
with that
again.
map, there shouldn't be any problem getting on.
Fantastic. All right, boys. What's the verdict for Friday night to prep? You
Big
threw it
bowls.
out on Twitter the other day. You're gonna watch The Last Dance.
Big bowl of spaghetti.
You're gonna watch Let It
bottle of
Ride.
red.
What's
I haven't really worked out the food options yet, but I'm thinking of maybe 1 or 2 episodes of The Last Dance definitely gets a run, just when maybe MJ's coming into his prime and just really that focused goat mode. So maybe that's going to get a run.
Sounds like you need to be busting out Let It Ride.
And then I
The
think
way you blokes are going to bet.
Let It Ride's
Let
going
It
to get a
Ride,
run,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, no doubt Let It Ride's going to get a run, and then we might throw something else in there.
Great.
But
If you haven't-
we've still got plenty of form to do as well, Nico. So
Some young people mightn't have seen Let It Ride. Like, he's just an
It's worth
absolute
doing.
Yeah,
sensational
you've got to see it. don't you?
punting movie.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Talk about going all in. So hopefully we're not in the situation he is, but if we are, we'll be betting like he was.
Yeah, it could,
Dodge all the coolers. Keep me away from
it
you.
could come down to Eagle Farm, the last at Eagle Farm with Ollie, and I'm
heck
sure
of
the
it, yeah.
boys will.
We need a crescendo.
We might need a GoPro on Ollie's head, but a big thanks from all the Beck Doctor team. We've got
There we go, the DK.
the DK shirt.
Hello,
Yeah.
Doc.
Thanks for coming in.
Man, thanks, boys.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
And,
Looking forward to
good
Saturday.
luck. Yeah, good luck on Saturday. Powered by puntingform.com.au, Australia's best online form guide and database. I use it, DK uses it, and so do the Noonan boys and the guys from the racing show. Up next, we've got Tristan Merlahan, our major sponsor, and he's going to talk all things POC tax. And we'll see if he's starting to feel a little bit hot under the collar now the bank is starting to roll. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Beck Doctor. I'm your host, Scoot. This is a behind-the-curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm joined by DK, the punter's punter, and Darcy Spinks, who's on fire on
Hello.
the boo. Now, we've got our major sponsor, Tristan Merlahan, on holidays up in the Gold Coast hinterlands. It seems like every time we speak to him, he's on a yacht. He's up in the hinterlands.
Needs the
I tell you what, he's got
freshen
a-
ups.
he's
They
got
need
a
a quick
good-
freshen ups.
Good little lifestyle. Every
Living
couple
the
of weeks,
dream.
he gives himself a freshen up in the paddock, but he'll need to be fresh because we've got the racing show, the Noonan boys, that are going to absolutely go bananas this Saturday for Blue Diamond Stakes Day. But welcome to the show, Tristan Merlahan, Managing Director of Topsport.
Good to talk to you all. It's it's always fun up here. We just go for a couple little days away before the big weekend, so we've got a big weekend of racing with the racing show boys keen to take us on. So just a little freshen up before then.
Now, I guess the first thing, how's turnover? I guess you're very vocal and your business model operates a lot different to a lot of the big corporates. You take on the winning clients and you bet the biggest limits, and that's why you sponsor a show, and that's why we can get on with all our streams. But your business model is very different from all the other operators. So firstly, I guess, how's wagering turnover been since we saw you last on the streams, and how's it been in the off season?
Yeah, well, it was obviously really, really strong with COVID. We had that bit of a sugar hit. We're sort of getting back to a little bit of normality in recent times, but our Magic Millions turnover, and it is a bit of a summer period, but we've had some strong results over the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks in particular. So it's really trending in the right direction. We're having a lot of conversations now with a lot of the racing bodies in preparation for the end of June, so that we can continually push our message of what we need, to be able to continue to offer these really strong products and really big limits for all the punters out there.
There was an interesting story that dropped on racing.com about a month ago. I think it was on the 19th of January. It said, in a move that was being welcomed by Racing Victoria, GRV and HRV, POC on wagering by Victorian residents will increase from 8 to 10% on all net wagering revenue from July 1st to bring it in line with New South Wales. That was big news, and a lot of the punters sort of rallied around us and said, when are you going to get Tristan on to talk about it, and how's that going to affect us? Because a tax on bookmakers is a tax on punters effectively. So how are you guys going to manage that from your perspective?
Yeah, so we sort of probably took a step back when all the the uproar originally emanated. Like, a tax on bookmakers isn't great for anyone, and you see that on face value going from 8 to 10%, and it looks bad. We're keeping our powder dry. We're having a lot of discussions, and we're not trying to come to any conclusions until we've got all the information. Like, what I hope is that extra 2% that's being taxed now from PIC in Victoria is going to go to the racing bodies' coffers, and hopefully there might be some sort of relief in the actual product fees or the race fields fees on those jurisdictions. We're working hard with that. The racing bodies understand that there isn't much left to squeeze out of the lemon. So we're just using all this information. We're trying to get the best deal we can for the punters, because at the end of the day, the higher the tax, the worse return the punters are going to get, and the lower limits that are going to be able to bet. We've already seen that by our Western Australian product. Unfortunately, we aren't able to be as competitive there due to the high limits. So we're just hoping we can get a good result over the next couple of months, and we're working very hard to do that.
What about you, DK? The landscape at the moment as a pro punter?
Yeah, it's tougher and tougher, but that's what happens. Nothing stays still in this. But I was just going to ask Tristan, just on another point. I've been meaning to sort of ask you about this subject for all deductions. They're a bit all over the place with all the WSPs. Have you got any thoughts on whether there should be a uniform deduction or something like that?
Oh, 100%. We'd be definitely for a uniform deduction like there is on course. The stewards determine the deduction, and I just feel now we've got the VOP, which is the Victorian official prices in Victoria, obviously, and we've got one of those in every state around the nation. I don't know why we can't have a Victorian unofficial pricing, which works before that 25-minute window, and that's the price used to determine what the deduction is, or the true price is, and then the deduction's based on that. Because at the end of the day, we're not trying to, take a higher deduction than anyone else. I'm sure a lot of the other bookies aren't either. But the reality is, you're only sort of brought up as the worst deduction when you've taken the worst. When you've taken the least, no one says anything. So we certainly would much rather it be a uniform situation. It's fairer for the punters, it's fairer for us, and it takes all the angst out of it.
Exactly right. And I think that's all we're sort of looking for as well. And I guess another point that we'll discuss further when we've got Richard Irvine on the line, but minimum bet laws. It's a funny one. It could be really simple, and Tristan sort of hit the nail on the head. Maybe there needs to be a change with the minimum bet laws, so that, and this is something you suggested, DK, an early minimum bet laws. So as soon as an operator goes up on a price, whether that be Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday for a Saturday race, all of a sudden you have to bet to win $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is. But then on Saturday, and once the market kicks in 25 minutes, there should be a second minimum bet limit, don't you think, DK?
Oh, particularly for the last 30 minutes of betting. And it just takes me back to when I worked for Mark Reed's, and we, the traders, were in charge. We were in charge of the risk. So our thing, our computer in front of us. And I just remember, we were only betting late then, but 30 minutes to go, I'd have 3,000 risks. 20 minutes to go, I'd up them to 5,000. 10 minutes to go, 10,000. In the last 5 minutes, I'd open the risks up to 25,000. That's just, and Tristan will understand that. That's just the way. That's bookmaking. That's risk management as well. In a way, that the closer you get to the race is when you open the shoulders. And I think the bet laws should be. They need tweaking. They've been out 5 years or 6 years or something now. Yeah. And I think it's time for a tweak. And just interested in Tristan's thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for that. I reckon we need to make it as simplistic as possible. But What we do personally at Top Sport, we bet the minimums from the moment we open our prices. So we always bet to the 2,000 or 1,000 or whatever the legislated limit is from the Wednesday. What we then do is when the official prices open, so in that last 25 minutes for a metro meeting or the last 20 minutes for a provincial meeting, we elevate that to whatever the bookies on course used to operate. So in a metro venue, we bet to lose 5. Provincial, we bet to lose 2 or 3. And as we get close to the race, obviously, we then open the shoulders up even further. I even think for the big Group 1 races, there should be a higher limit. I think they're the races we need to get the chat going even further. We need to see real bets going into the marketplace. So we bet to win 10,000 to everyone from the moment we release our prices on the bigger races, and then we elevate that to quite significant limits in the last sort of 15, 20 minutes, as DK said, when the liquidity's there. And that's bookmaking, and that's when you sort of lay a runner, shorten it up, lay another one, and that's where we need these fee structures in place so that you can run on a lower margin and you are able to open your limits, open your shoulders, should I say, and get higher liquidity there, higher turnover, which is good for everyone.
And I think it needs to get back to real bookmaking. And a lot of these guys that are probably starting their own businesses at the moment, I remember, 10 years ago, I think it was, or 12 years ago, I was working for Betstar, and we used to lay off with other bookmakers, and it was really vibrant, and the price was sort of the price. You could move, 10, 15, nearly $100,000 worth of bets and lay it all off. It wasn't these fake, false economies that we got at the moment, because some of the time, these small bets are setting the market off, and it's bad for turnover from the start when the market's open and then right at the finish. And if the more people that can get on and the faster we can get to that SP, the higher the turnover will be. So competition's a great thing, and we want as many people playing the game, and racing needs that to survive. So just on that, Tristan, I know you're happy for competition, and what do you think from a competitive point of view? There's a lot of talk about Tabcorp and Entain, this group that's pushing hard to buy them out. What would you think will happen to the industry if Tabcorp are bought out by this Entain group?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Tabcorp do an unbelievable job. There's things that they could do a lot better. If I had the scale that they have, I'd love to be in that position. But they still, they've got the obviously all the shop fronts and these sort of things. So it's a completely different business type than what we operate under. But I just feel that if someone else were to come in, I just don't know. Until you see what their plan is, until you see what their modus operandi is, you just don't know. And I want to see more businesses. I love seeing all these smaller on-course bookmakers going online, but we need everyone taking a bet. What's the point of opening up if you're only going to bet to a sort of small select group of customers? We need, if you're going to be online, you need to be open to everyone, and that helps generate turnover. It helps create liquidity. So to answer your question, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to end up with whatever happens there, but we're just going to have to be able to move with whatever's in front of us, and we're just going to continue to do our best, worry about what we're doing, and see how we go.
Okay, well, we might just pivot and take the heat off the conversation. You are on holidays, so I won't put you under the griller completely. But what about the streams? We've had 4 live streams, and the score's 2-2. You got us late doors in the Little Birdie Millions. We've got the Blue Diamond this Saturday. But what, off the top of your head, you may not know this, but what's the ROI? If I put in, $100 on each of the streams, what would be the scoreboard at the moment? I know it's 2-2, but would I be winning on my return?
Well, it's 2-2, but you've definitely got the away goals in your favour if we're playing a Champions League doubleheader leg. You got the belting we received on Melbourne Cup Night of Dogs was one of the best punting performances I've ever seen. There has been a couple of little wins for us along the way, but certainly the punters are well and truly in front if you've been involved in all 4.
And what about confidence levels for this Saturday against the Racing Show boys? They've taken the price on Animo, and then lo and behold today, there's a query over Enther.
Yeah, we saw that, and there has been some good money for us with Enther as well. So at least we are balancing the book out a little bit, but the boys have done very well. Have taken a good price there. I expect it to firm up. They seem very, very confident. They've got a lot of they've got a lot of banter going. They're going to keep us entertained as well, and I feel like they're going to fire some bullets. So it's going to be an interesting day. I'm pretty pumped for this stream because, as they pointed out when you did the preview show with them, we've got some really good racing across a number of states. So that's going to make for some really big liquid markets, and they're going to be opening their shoulders. We're going to be betting really aggressive percentages, and it's going to be a good day. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be a few nerves flying around, but yeah, that's bookmaking. That's what we love.
Oh, we might let you get back to a little freshen up, and we'll dial you back in when we start the stream on Saturday afternoon.
Good stuff. Enjoy the next couple of days, and we'll be ready for Saturday.
Morning, Tristan.
Thanks, Tristan. That's Tristan Merlahan from topsport.com.au and Darcy.
Topsport.com.au. Owned and operated by the Merlahan family for 30 years. Bet Australian and bet with people you can trust. Topsport.com.au, and please gamble responsibly.
Up next, Richard Irvine. Welcome back to Bet Doctor. I'm your host, Scoot. This is a behind-the-curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm here with DK, who's been on fire, and Darcy's back in the studio after the Noonan boys have dazzled us. But our next guest is Richard Irvine from Wagering Capital Management, a little side project he's been working on, but most of you will remember him from fairwageringaustralia.com. Now, Richie's made the Little Birdie Hall of Fame in the past, in Season 1, and he's an advocate for the punters. He's one of the major reasons.
Unofficially knighted by the punters.
Yeah, the patron
Richie,
saint we call
patron
him.
saint.
Yeah, no PVL. It's Richie Irvine. Make no mistake about that. Without Richie, there wouldn't be any minimum bet laws, and he worked really, really hard for 4 or 5 years to really establish these minimum bet laws and keep all the PRAs who were responsible for managing the bookmakers to account, to feed in all our thoughts to make sure that the industry survives, you get a fair go on the punt, and you can get a decent bet down. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Bet Doctor, Richie.
Great. Cheers, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me, Scoot. Nice to be with you guys.
Now, Richie, you've been working on a side project, WCM, or Wagering Capital Management. What is that?
It's basically just a way to try and fund punters who might not have enough capital or enough capital to really monetize their wagering models, or also might not have enough capital to really develop their wagering models. It's an idea that I came up with a few other sort of heavy hitters in the Aussie industry. Simply it's just the people that we want to deal with have got to be pretty sophisticated already. They've got to design wagering models, or in the process of designing wagering models that look like they're going to be quite profitable. Hypothetically, it could be someone who's at university studying applied maths or something like that, and they've put together a wagering model, and it looks like it's going to be profitable, but they just don't have the money to properly monetize it. So I just thought it wasn't a bad idea to put something together and try to reach out to people like that. It's not just for Australia; it's sort of all over the world. And it's been good. Sort of kicked it off before Christmas, and it's a slow and steady thing, but we've been talking to a few different people and got a couple of things up and running already. So it's just a side project, as you say, I think it's sort of a win-win for anyone who gets involved. They don't have to risk any capital. They can only make money. Obviously, me and the other guys I'm involved with can try and make money out of it as well. But I think for the right punter, it's a win-win.
I think it's a great concept. Like a small punter trying to, manage their bank, get their model right. It's an expensive process.
Well, and those models are sort of a lot about high turnover, low margin. So that you need good capital to be able to turn over that amount of money.
Yep.
And to make it profitable. So it's a solid idea by Richie. It'd be interesting to see. Obviously it's confidential, but the sort of people who are attracted to that, like you said, and hopefully promote young people, with that maths background and things like that. We want more young people in the sport, and it's another way to attract them,
Exactly. And you sort of, punting form is a database for, the manual type punter where you can look in and go through the sectionals and do it all yourself. But if you want to take it to the next step and get the raw data and build your own custom model, this is what Richie's talking about. So if you're interested in that, and if you're a quant or if you're in mathematics, or even if you're racing smart and you need that bridging help, I think Wagering Capital Management is a good solution for you. So you can find them on the internet, wageringcm.com, or just jump on Twitter and just slide into Richie's DMs at wageringcm, and he's very approachable and very easy to talk to. Richie, he's a great guy, so he will help you along your journey if you so desire. So reach out and have a chat with Rich. But Rich, you're sort of putting your hat on. You went into retirement for a while there with your, I guess, lobbying with the government, or not the government, sorry, with all the PRAs, all the racing bodies who control and lobby governments around POC tax and things like that. And I guess while everyone's sort of been sleeping in between carnivals, Racing Victoria have announced an increase in their POC tax, which now brings them in line with New South Wales. So all of a sudden, they've leapt from, 8% to 10%, and that's going to kick in on July the 1st this year. Rich, what are your thoughts around this?
What does it mean for the punters?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not that concerned about it. Tristan would know better than me. I don't know if you've had him on yet, or if you're having him on. It'd be interesting to hear what he says. Look, it's a hard marketplace, but it's pretty hard to argue against a small raise when there's so much money flowing around the market at the moment with all these billion-dollar deals, and it seems like all the bookies are doing pretty well. So I think you've got to sort of pick your arguments, and I guess on this case, I don't see it being a huge issue. I do think if they put up to 15%, then you probably start to see less value for the punters. But right now, look, I think it's probably just, in my opinion, probably just let it go and move on. It's hard to get a gauge of how the bookies are going, but it seems that they're not going too badly. So I think COVID's helped them. Everyone's at home betting, and they seem to be doing okay. So yeah, from my opinion, and I'd love to hear from someone like Tristan to see how much of a difference it's going to make to him. But from what I see, I don't think it's a huge issue.
Now, those minimum bet laws that were so important that were implemented, how long ago were they in? Was it about 4 or 5 years, Rich, that they've been in? Because they're definitely due for a tweak. How long
2014. Ago? It's a long time.
2014.
Well,
7 years. So 6.5 years ago. 2014.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely
Basically
due for a tweak.
7 years,
yeah. And apart from the obvious one, which we all, which is, that they kick in from when a bookmaker puts a price up. Any other sort of little tweaks you sort of can think about?
They need to have a bit of a look at the limits, maybe bet a bit bigger. And then there's a few, the biggest one is minimum bet avoidance, and it's like kind of out of control at the moment, especially you've got a lot of on-course bookmakers who are basically shutting down their on-course businesses and coming online. And then there's a lot of other people just setting up bookmaker businesses themselves, and they come to the marketplace basically very inexperienced, open up a shop, think that punters will suddenly come to them. Hardly any punters come to them other than people like me and you guys and a lot of the other sharper punters. And they find it really, really difficult, and they're suddenly like, well, this is no good. I don't want these people betting with me who effectively are finding inefficiencies in the markets that they put up. And that's the point here, is that they put these markets up. Nobody's enforcing them to do that. So, and then they basically realise there's a minimum bet limit, which doesn't suit them. So then they do everything they can to try and avoid betting people and looking for all different loopholes. Long story short, there's way too many conditions in the minimum bet limits at the moment, and they need to be completely scaled back so that these bookies can't try and keep not betting people. And it's like, at the moment, it's disgusting. It's out of control. Thankfully, I'm having some good conversations with different PRAs about it at the moment. I don't know if you mentioned, Dan, but we're both talking to RBL this afternoon about it. It's just got to stop. It's embarrassing. Yeah. So I'm really fired up about it. It's really bad at the moment. All these bookies come in and just so arrogant, treat people so badly, and I'm done with it. It's got to stop.
Jeez. Richie off the long run.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the same thing. So I think the PRAs, the principal racing authorities, they need to police these online bookmakers, and I think we need to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're coming from an on-course environment to then online, but I'm hearing some really bad stories about some sort of like Melbourne-based sort of startups. Some of them are not paying.
Not paying?
Well, or they're just in disputes about certain bets, and
so the money.
Ducking and weaving and just trying to avoid and wriggle out of situations that doesn't suit them. So it's a real weird one. So I'm sure if the punter's going to absolutely, they're starting to lose or go on a losing run, they're happy to take the money there. But as soon as you start to back a couple of winners with them, oh no, they want to shut the account down, freeze the account, lock the account, or then dodge around these minimum bet laws and sort of flaunt and hide in the darkness there. But I've heard some other stories, and not just from Melbourne-based startups, but in New South Wales and things like that, where people are contacting smart punters and saying, "Oh no, we don't want your business whatsoever." So
don't bet here. So you've opened an account.
Yeah, but don't bet here. So like, okay, Scoot, well, no,
Every time I
bet here, but Darcy
if I
can.
open an account, I get letters saying, "Hey, don't bet with me."
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't. Yes, I was just going to say, like, that happens to me all the time. Every time, if I open an account, not all the time, but 50% of the time I open an account, straight away I get an email saying, "Hey, mate," and often I know the people that like, haven't heard from you for ages. Like, well, hey, listen, can you not bet with me because I'm just starting out? My answer is always like, no. And then it just descends from there. Then when you say no, then they start looking for the minimum bet limits to try, and then they come up with all these ridiculous excuses not to bet you. And it's going to stop. It won't continue. So, which is good.
Yeah, so fingers crossed the PREs can sort of just get on top of it, because I guess punters just need confidence, and I guess that's why Top Sport are our major sponsor. They bet the sharps, they play everyone, it's fair, and that's why everyone gravitates towards their brand. And punters just want a fair go. And then if people are turned off or can't turn over money, the game dies very, very quickly. And then all of a sudden, people get really sour taste in their mouth, and it's just a really dangerous, line that we're sort of treading here, and the industry just doesn't want to be tarnished with that sort of reputation.
Yeah, no. And that's, Darcy's been sort of new to this, but
yes.
when I even tell my parents or friends, and so they say, it's like walking into a shop and there's milk one price, or, they say you can buy it, but you can't buy it. And that's the thing in racing, and a lot of people can't say, how's it work?
No.
So like, it's not, and that's why Richie was called fair wagering. We just want fairness.
Yeah, it's got to be fair.
Got to
Absolutely.
be fair, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, Rich, and we might get another update from you once. I think you've got a couple of meetings penciled in with some of the principal racing authorities, and we'll get a little update on possible changes to some of the NBLs and even deductions. I think deductions is a sort of a murky area at the moment. It just feels like every different bookmaker has got different rules and different prices, and it is just a dog's breakfast. So I think the PRAs need to tidy house a little bit. And thanks for joining us today. And we can't wait to get you back on the show and report back on how things are going.
I was going to say credit to Racing Victoria, because they reached out to me. I didn't even contact them. They just said, we've decided we're going to have a look at things. Can we talk to you? So that's what every PRA needs to be doing, which I don't think they do. They don't have to reach out to me, but they need to reach out to a significant punter who's got a lot of experience, at least once a year, or multiple experienced punters once a year, find out what's happening in the game, all that kind of stuff. Because I think at the moment there's been nothing for years, and that's why we're in the pretty shitty state we're in right now.
Okay, up next we'll do a little bit of around the grounds with In the Know with Snow. He's got all the Caulfield Hut mail, and we'll look at the Top Sport market movers and early bets to see if we can get a lean for this Saturday. But first, puntingform.com.au, Darcy.
Yep. Puntingform.com.au. Buy the raw data, build a racing model, or use them for your own speed map and sectional time analysis. Punting Form, the number one choice of professional bettors.
Up next, In the Know with Snow.
Snowman.
Welcome back to Bet Doctor. I'm your host, Scoot, with DK and Darcy. It's a behind-the-curtain look at how pro punters operate, and we've talked all the industry stuff, so now it's time to look forward to the weekend, Darcy.
Yes, can't wait.
Huge weekend of Group 1 racing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Snowy couldn't join us today, but here are his best bets from the Caulfield Hut. In the Know with Snow. Caulfield Hut, mail from Mark Bilney. Okay, so the first one. Caulfield, Blue Diamond Stakes, Race 7, number 13, Enther. Snowy says, Seamar thinks it's unbeatable. It just wins.
Well, it's a big call, and especially with all that innuendo about the lameness now and
But he's saying, it might do again. It might just be the horse. Kieran Maher's top trainer in Australia. Look, again, it's a price point thing we're talking about with this horse. So it'll be very interesting to see what transpires in the market and what transpires in the morning. Mm-hmm. Like with the vets, obviously there's more vets. Got to look at the horse, and it's going to come out again in the morning.
There's been plenty of horses that have won with a tiny little bit of pain, and the lameness. It could be mildly lame.
2-year-old, it'd be a bit of shin soreness. And it might have been 1 out of 5. They don't tell you that. So very interesting stuff. Just racing is never boring, and
stable confidence in the market should tell us.
Yeah.
What else is Snowy
We'll
like?
have to wait and see.
What else are you tipping there's, Darcy?
Well, we have Peter Young Stakes, Race 9, number 9, non-conformist. Snowy says, trialled well before hitting the line, well fresh, suited track, distance and second up are all ticks.
Yes, well, I know this horse well. I backed him when he won his mail. Followed him. He savaged the line on debut.
Real line chaser this
Line chaser. So then I backed him. I think he went to Caulfield. Second start, got out the back. Savage. Then he won his maiden at short odds. We didn't get any price. But he's a smart horse, this. I tumbled into him first up when we were at the races the other day when he resumed. And he was drawn the coffin, which we said before the race. First up horse, staying horse from the coffin.
Back on the fence.
He was going to have a task, wasn't he? And the leader got away with murder.
Yeah.
So he gets a bit of a golden switch here out wide to draw momentum. So he's a nice horse and with a really good trainer, Graham Begg. So
Okay.
so
now he's facing the big boys. It's sort of D-Day for this galloper.
he's only second up though.
Gets the right conditions though.
Yeah, gets the right conditions. So you'd be expecting him to run really well here. There's no reason why he won't.
Yeah, true. I look forward to seeing that one. Then we have Rose Hill, race 8, number 2, Tavasan.
No, I mean, he loves a
No, you nailed it.
He loves a Mick Price runner. Snowy.
Yeah,
he loves a Mick
when
Price
Snowy
Okay.
when Snowy finds a Mick Price runner interstate, Adelaide or Sydney or something like that,
deadly.
usually you follow.
what's
What does
his-
he say about that one?
Yes,
Gus?
Snowy says, from the Mick Price yard, is very fit, makes its own luck. Each way, plays at $11, an even affair.
In an even affair. Yeah, it's a. I haven't got to that race. There's a lot of form to get cracking into, but the Noonan boys have got it covered there in the hot seat, and we'll just steer the ship here. But
they've got a Sydney man, you said, Matt Sheen, and that,
Matt
so we'll get
Sheen.
some good mail up there and see what hopefully he agrees, and we can back another winner.
Exactly, and then I think Top Sport have provided us their early bets. Where are they? Where's the hot money early, Dust?
Okay, so we have Caulfield Futurity Stakes, race 6, number 1, Behemoth, 3,000 at $3.40, now $3.20.
Yeah, that's
He's a nice big animal. This he was knocking the door down before his last Group 1 win, and Caulfield just suits him down to the ground.
got a
Doesn't
map. He looks the good map horse in a race where others are not. I've got a query over them in the map. He's going to look like he's going to be right there, probably box seat. And I know he's only in Adelaide and he was entitled to win, but geez, that's the way he hit the line and just rounded him up first up. He's just a good horse, that horse, and bomb proof. So that's a good play. What's next?
Then we have Blue Diamond, race 7, number 13, Enthar at 15,000 at $2.40, now $2.25.
We have the wobbles this
Gee, I
play.
tell you, I don't know who's had this bet, but 15,000 is a big stake on a horse that's all of a sudden got this big cloud over it. But it's the hype horse, and as we sort of touched on earlier in the show, this 1,000-metre island stuff, this will be the absolute proof in the pudding for people that are still not convinced that 1,000-metre and 1,200-metre form is a completely different. It's its own island, 1,000 metres, and we've said that all last season. And Mark Lambourne and most pro punters adopt this theory. It's a different beast, so it's going to be interesting to see. I'm fascinated, and then all of a sudden, this element of this lameness is a new dimension as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And like I said, the boys said it's been at a bit slow pace 1,000-metre races too, like slow tempo where it's at no pressure. Gets into a pressure 1,200, so just completely different kettle of fish. And now with this little lameness issue hanging over it head, I don't know if I'd want. Look,
I couldn't chime in at the price.
Couldn't chime in the price, and I'd say it's going to get to better odds than that.
Interesting. Then we have Oakley Plate, race 8, number 18, $2,000, Anders at $8.50, now $8.
They go like the clappers in this race, and there's been a couple of horses, but not that many that can find the front and just keep kicking on with it. But there's a lot of people that are interested in Anders. I think maybe the Noonans are sort of talking about it. They might pull the trigger in the Little Birdie Diamonds. What do you think, DK? Have you had a look at the race?
Yeah. Quick look, it's only early, but he stood out to me as one that if you're playing in the race, I think you've got to have something on him. The 3-year-old with the lightweight, it's going to be on pace. It's generally an on-pace race. So I think that's a pretty clever bet as well.
Okay. Then we have Rose Hill, Hobartville Stakes, race 7, number 6, Prague, $1,000 at $8, now $7.50.
Good horses race this one. I haven't got through the form in
nor have I.
Rose Hill, but we might just keep tabs on that one and see what Matt Sheen and the guys do in the stream there. But it's been a great show. We've got the new studio. We've got the pictures of you. The toilet story has probably been the highlight of the show for me. And you busted the toilet seat and put a hole in the plaster wall. Have you got the plaster out to fix it? If there's a plaster out there,
fix the toilet seat, but the plaster in the door.
Oh, surely you've got a bit of a bruise on the back of your head after that.
Sure, there's a bit of dry blood on the top of my skull.
I tell you what,
neck's still a bit stiff. Oh,
might need a massage.
I said I dodged a bullet. I could have easily smashed my mouth on the toilet bowl or done something, lost teeth or anything. Who knows what it could have happened.
I've never met anyone that can find a way to get beaten. Even when we were out at CF4 Day, we were there for about 5 minutes and we hand DK the remote to try and change it over to Sky One so we watch every race, just not the locals. And lo and behold, DK, 5 minutes with the remote. TV broken for the first hour and a half.
Full staff done to try and fix it.
Was this on Saturday?
Yeah, on the
Yes, I
Saturday
remember
one
that.
of the races.
And turns out it was just an off and on
Yeah,
job.
I didn't press the on and off. I could have pressed the on and off button. It would have gone back on. So that's that's
It's
how
all
good
right.
I'm going.
Yeah, DK.
Anyway, I'll be right.
This weekend we've got Top Sport betting everyone to win $10,000 on all Group 1 races from here on in. It just shows they're the biggest betting bookmaker. We've heard from Tristan. They're excited for the stream, and without them we just couldn't. No one would bet us these amounts for these streams. So a big hat tip to them. They could absolutely do their life this week. The Noonan boys are going to absolutely stick it to them. So it's going to go one way or the other, boom or bust, and can't wait to see what's going to happen with the live stream. So head to littlebirdie.podcast.com, click on the blue diamond tab, and follow the prompts there to enter the stream. To pay your way in, $50 minimum unit, up to $500 buy-in. We'll smuggle DK into the house. COVID's lifted, so he can cross the Yarra.
On the YouTube as well. Get on the YouTube. Get in
some
get in the
questions.
chat. We'll be right. We'll have some fun on Saturday. We'll keep the boys on their toes as well, which I'm sure they will be anyway.
And Darcy, can we see you next week?
Yes, I'll be back.
Darcy.
I'll
You
be
go
back.
buttering up for more.
I'll be back for more. Yep, can't wait.
Outstanding. Okay, follow at BetDoctorTV on Twitter. Follow our YouTube channel, Little Birdie Podcast. And we'll be back next Wednesday with our sports show, Little Birdie Podcast. And the 2 shows will now run for the rest of the year. It's going to be a big, long season. Jump on the streams. They're really good fun. If you haven't bought in, these boys could turn your money into something big. And just follow the bets and watch along. And if you've got any questions, jump into the YouTube channel and fire away. You're going to learn a lot about punting, and the boys will provide plenty of entertainment, especially the boys up in Brisbane. We're in the Apple Store, we're on Whooshka and Spotify,
Everywhere.
and even SoundCloud. So you'll be able to digest Bet Doctor on any platform you like. Thanks, and we'll be back next week.